Even when everything in life sucks, you can always do push-ups on a slingshot to make you feel better. Okay, so guys, welcome to another episode of our home workouts. For the warm-up, you're gonna need a set of bottles. If you substitute the bottles for example, a plate, which is fine, keep it very light. Maximum weight is gonna be 2.5 kilos per arm because execution should be perfect here. Now we're gonna do 2 warm-up movements and Marloes and Fred are gonna demo these for you, starting off with the Woodpecker to warm up the back of the body and getting our balance to be fixed here. Let's gonna start off with the left leg being slightly bent. You guys can start in your set whenever you feel good. And we're gonna do Woodpecker. Now Marloes is gonna be with a long leg and she's gonna connect her heel to her head here. And Fred is gonna have his leg more bended, stays more closer to the middle, which is, yes, a bit easier, but that is all fine. Do whatever feels good for you as long as you feel like you're bending from the hip. After X amount of repetitions, we're switching to the other leg, which we will actually do once we do the warm-up with you guys. Now, for the second movement, you guys can stop and grab your bottles. We're gonna do a thing that is called the Cuban press. But when we do the Cuban press, it often leads to very fast execution and never hitting the right position. So we're gonna hit every position and hold it for a good long second. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just talk them into the repetitions and they can only move on my command and then they're gonna get the flow of things. So we're gonna start off, let's have a look at them with the palms facing the body. And then once I tell them to go, the first thing they'll do is they'll pull their elbows to shoulder height with the bottles being right underneath. Let's go up. Hold this position. Now you're going to rotate. Hold this position. Press overhead. Hold the position. Come back. Hold. Rotate. Hold. Come back down. Now keep going on that flow that I just explained to you guys. So they're holding every spot. Now what is happening here? The first initial movement with that pulling movement, they pull their elbow to shoulder height and it needs to stay at exactly shoulder height to initiate that external rotation with that object. Then they hold that position, they press overhead. When they come back down, they hit it, they go into that internal rotation and then they bring it back down. You guys can rest. This is the tempo we need to see when you're performing this warm-up. You're never ever gonna do this for speed. You're gonna do it just as perfect as Fred and Marloes were doing it. We just showed you the Woodpecker and the Cuban press with light weights. The idea is this. We're gonna do 5 reps with the Woodpecker on one leg, then 5 reps with the Woodpecker on the other leg, followed by 5 Cuban presses with a second of pause in every position. You wanna really look like a robot when you're doing that movement there. Okay? We do that for just 5 minutes and probably it'll be like a round of 4 to 5 if you go very slow. And I'd rather have you go very slow here. Let's start all together. I'm gonna have my timer set. I have Marloes and Fred ready. You are ready at home. We start in 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Even if you lose balance during the Woodpecker, I'm all fine with you guys just not stopping, but continuing there. You don't have to no-rep yourself on the Woodpecker. Now, what is important, instead of thinking about leaning forward, I want you to think of hinging from the hip. So we're trying to bend from the hip. That really helps with the balance as well because it fires your hamstrings and glutes properly. And if you just lean forward, the only thing you do is you're flexing from your spine and it doesn't really help you with finding a solid balance here. 5 reps per side, and upon completion of the 5 reps, it is time to grab the bottles and start on your 5 Cuban presses. Pull out to the side, and even when you're pulling out to the side, there's really big tendency to start pulling the elbow back. I really want you to pull the elbow straight up in the air. Very nice, guys. Rotate, really feel the positions. In all honesty, guys, if you're doing this and you have a mirror at home, you actually want to do this in front of a mirror and see in what position your elbows are. There's always a tendency to drop the elbows a bit too low or raise them a bit too high. And I don't consider that being wrong, but I consider it being away from perfect. And the thing we are aiming for here is perfect execution of the Cuban press. All right. So we're finishing up a round. I was actually kind of mistaken here saying you can do a round per minute. I do think we should aim for approximately 4 quality rounds of this. You guys keep going. See you back in a second. Okay, another great mobility portion in the middle of today's session. We're going to do 3 different exercises, but the first mobility exercise has 2 different directions, so 2 different limbs we're going to use. So it's going to be a round has 4 intervals in total. Since we do 3 rounds, that makes 12 intervals. Set your timer at 30 seconds on and allow yourself 15 seconds of transition time. If the transition time takes too long, you can already start the next one if you feel like. The first one, I'm going to have both of them against the wall. You as well want to use the wall on this one. And the ideal starting position is going to be the knees and hips at approximately a 90-degree angle. And then we work from there. We're going to do a glute stretch starting in 10 seconds where you have one leg coming across against the other knee. Let's have a look and then start in 3, 2, 1. Boom. Now you can passively just lay here for 30 seconds. If you feel the need to do so, you can also gently push away the knee that is closest. Here we go. You push it away from the body. Now what is important here is you try to keep your hips squared with your shoulders. So you can try to be the ultimate ninja by getting your butt against the wall, but you're probably going to twist your hips to the side, which does not help you stretch out your glutes. 5 more seconds on this side. 3, 2, 1, and we have 15 seconds of transition time going with the other leg here. Good job. Now again, place your hips into the floor, so drive your butt into the floor, and then you can gently push the knee away in 3, 2, 1. We're working right now. Now if the first interval feels very boring for you doing this, you can also do it dynamically in the second round by pushing away, like for repetition. So you apply pressure for 2 seconds, you bring it back for 2 seconds. Reason we're doing this one against the wall and not on the floor is because we need the wall for the second movement as well. So it's very nice to just use it twice in a row. Makes life easy. We got 5 more seconds before you guys can stand up. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So you're going to position yourself standing with approximately arm length away from the wall. You're going to have your arms into the wall. You're going to have your legs to the hip width stance. Now what we do here is not a classic wall stretch, because with a classic wall stretch, we're completely relaxed. You guys can start right now. But with the T-spine wall stretch that we have for you guys today, you're going to make sure you suck in that belly button, you squeeze your abs, and then you pull your your chest down to the floor, and that actually opens up your thoracic spine, which is the upper portion of the spine, closer to your head. Which is when you sit a lot behind your laptop or on a desk, is something that tends to flex forward. So we need to open that baby up a tiny bit. You got 5 more seconds. 2, 1. Now the last one is sitting on the floor facing me here with the feet. We're going to do an inverted plank to open up the shoulders. So we're going to have the hands on the floor. We're going to walk out the feet, and in 5 seconds we're going to drive our hips into the ceiling. 3, 2, 1. Let's drive them up. So at home, if you're practicing it, you can play around with, for example, the positioning of the hand. So the more you start rotating the hand backwards, so the more the fingers go behind you, it's harder on the shoulder because of the external rotation you create there. If you feel like your hips are coming down, you can also gently let the hips come down and then drive them back up to the ceiling to make it more of a dynamic stretch. We have a couple more seconds on this one. 3, 2, 1. You guys position yourself against the wall for round number 2. It is 3 of those rounds in total. You guys keep going. We'll do it as well. See you back in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, I got you to grab your bands for the actual intense part of today's workout. We're going to do a whole lot of reps here. 80 reps around in a 12-minute AMRAP. Let's have a look at movement number 1. So for the first movement, you're going to wrap the band around your neck and stand on the band in a hip width stance, bending your knees slightly, which we call unlocking the knees or creating a soft knee position. Now from there, with your torso staying in exactly the same line from hip to head, you're going to make a hinge by driving your hip back and bending from the hip down. On the way up, you're going to extend by squeezing your butt as hard as you can. You're going to come up. I want you guys to demo this at the pace you would do in the workout, which is 1, 2, up. 1, 2, up. And throughout the movement, you're going to keep tension on the band. That is very important. Your knees are going to stay on top of your ankle. They're not going to go over the ankle, because in that case, we're going to load up the quads a tiny bit. And guess what? We're trying to avoid using the quads here because they're very sore from yesterday's workout. We try to find our hamstrings on the way back, on the way down, and we try to find our glutes on the way up. Nice little band good mornings. You guys can rest here. Now, if this really hurts your lower back because you have some lower back issues, what I just need you to do is ditch the band. Just purely do this for 20 reps of quality, finding a range of motion that you could hit without pain, and then it's a very good physio exercise. Now, second movement is going to be still standing on the band, but now when we stand, we have the band in our front rack, like we would do with a barbell, for example. Now we're going from there to overhead for some shoulder presses. Two at the same time, buddy. It's a regular shoulder press. Yes. From the front rack, we press it to overhead, we hold it there for a second. Now this is a pretty light and easy exercise, but we're doing this for 20 quick reps with a good lockout, and it'll eventually get a good burn in that shoulder, specifically when you combine it with our favorite one, which we'll do in the end of today's workout. Good job, guys. Nice overhead press. Now what Fred will demonstrate for you guys is what to do if overhead is causing you issues because it's painful in the shoulder. In that case, you still grab the band, you go stand on it again, and we're going to hit some bend over rows here. Now, however you attach the band is all up to you. What I need to see is a flat back, slightly bended knee, and a good elbow coming back and up. This is an injury scaling option for not going overhead. Good job, Fred. Solid bend over rows. Now, our third movement, for that one, we need to loop the band. So you cross it, you loop it, and then you place it around the knees. Now what is important is that you probably have to widen your stance a bit in the glute bridge to allow tension on the band. If you feel very, very comfortable and strong, you can throw in a third loop and then try it that way. Now what we do here is we're laying on the floor with that 90-degree angle of the knees. We're going to have our heels pressed in the floor firmly. Our toes can come off slightly. And then from here, we're going to fold our hips around the belly button, and then we're going to squeeze our butt by getting our hips to the ceiling, slowly lowering. Now while they're making the reps here, what I want you to do is this. I want you to always apply pressure in the band. So what does the band do? It pulls the knees in. What do? It's action-reaction. You press into that band. That is the most important thing to do here. And you guys keep going. What I just heard Fred say, he was coaching a live class, and he said, it's like you're touching fire with your butt. So that means you feel the floor is being fired, just shoot up. So the floor is lava, Fred. That's great, buddy. Some glute bridges. Good. Now, if this is very difficult for you to do with the band for the big set of 20 that we have in the workout, guess what? You do exactly the same exercise. You just take the band out. It's that simple. Now, our fourth movement is going to be the band pull apart. Let's see that one. So we're going to have the band, we're going to have the arms straight forward, and we're going to aim for this. Shoulder, elbow, and wrist are all going to be at the same height. And from there, we have tension in the start. We pull the band apart, that it touches the chest, and we're going to come back in. Really focus on bringing your pinkies in a very big half circle from sideways to backwards. Good. Now this is going to burn the hell out of the back of your shoulders and maybe even a bit at your upper back. That is all fine. You can definitely push through this for the reps that there are. And yes, you're going to feel that burning sensation. The fifth exercise is band 8. We just showed you 4 movements. We gave you a couple of scaling options for injuries, also for level, which is easy. You just ditch the band for most of the exercises. Now, how are you going to set this up? It's a 12-minute AMRAP, so 12 minutes of as many rounds as possible, what I'll tell you in a second. And then with the round you can't complete, you just keep going on the repetitions there. First movement, good morning with the band, 20 reps. Second movement, shoulder press with the band, 20 reps. Third movement, the glute bridge with the band around the knees, also 20 reps. And the fourth and final movement is the pull apart, also for 20 reps. If you guys are ready, and you guys are ready, we are going to get started in 10 seconds. As always with the band, guys, fight the tension. In 3, 2, 1, game time! That is it. Good. Sit back, find your hamstrings, squeeze your glutes on the way up. Very nice set. Going through 20 reps here. Pacing wise, I'm looking for a 1, 2, up. 1, 2, up. Exactly. And then 20 reps in total. It will probably burn your glutes properly. This was exactly what you need. And try to find and feel those hamstrings when you sit back. Really keep your knees on top of the ankle and not going forward there. A straight leg is something I do not recommend, so really keep that soft knee throughout the movement. Then you go to the front upon completion, yes indeed, and you start hitting the shoulder presses. And yes, it is light, but because even in the bottom position, the band is pulling on you, the shoulders are always working. So I will tell you that probably you're gonna have a good burn over the course of reps here. Now yesterday we did quads and abs. Today we're doing shoulders and glutes. That's what we try to aim for. Shoulders, glutes, and maybe even a bit of hamstrings in there. Shoulders, glutes, and hammies. That's nice. Or we can call it ham and cheese. That might be a good one. Then you're going to loop the band as firmly as you can around the knees. You're going to lay on your back. You're going to push those knees into the band, drive your heels into the floor, and you're going to get your butt squeezed, drive it up to the ceiling. And guys, I really need you to see, push that knee into the band. It's action-reaction. Band pulls you in, you pull back. You push back. Keep driving out. Let's go. 20 reps of the glute bridge. Fire up those babies. That's nice. Upon completion of the third movement, the fourth movement that we have is going to be the pull apart. And if you didn't experience a burn yet, then I will tell you that doing pull aparts for an unbroken set of 20, you should have a pain phase in the end of that. Let's go. 20 reps of the pull apart. And we love these banded workouts because they give you this crazy burn. Here we go. And the funny thing is you can always keep going because it is only the burn. It's just the burn. And it's only a yellow elastic band in your hand. It's not an 80 kilo barbell, no. It's just a yellow band in your hand. Keep tension even in that middle portion. Work your way through. So that one round took them almost 3 minutes. The goal is get 4 rounds done in 12. You guys keep going. See you next time. Bye-bye. Thumbs up. And like and subscribe.